Let's welcome in Daniella Ponticelli. You hear her voice when you watch the PWHL on TSN, CBC, or on their YouTube streams. You made it out of the DMV alive.
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up. Yes, I did. I have cooled down a little bit after that. Everything that you hear, all the jokes about the DMV, it's 100% accurate.
I was going to say, set the scene. Like, take us inside the DMV. Is this like in a movie?
Yes, you walk in, you have to go get a ticket. It is wall to wall, seemingly only men in the very small space. And you just have to sit and you have to try to get a seat. And it's like, just excuse me. You're like on bench seating and you're just waiting. And every time you hear the ding, and then it goes C144. And I'm like, what the? I'm B012. What is happening? And so you just wait and wait. And I didn't even tell you the real punchline to all of this, Darren, is I get to the front finally and they say, oh, you have to book an appointment for this. So I couldn't get it done.
No.
I'm going back tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Hot damn.
Oh, that's the worst.
Completely unrelated to sports.
You're sitting there all morning long waiting.
It is so
only
hot,
to get to the front. So, yeah, you need an appointment.
Yep. At least I had, hockey going on, trying to get the updates. There's things like that. Silver linings, texting friends, doing all of that, where I'm like, okay, at least I'm making use of my time.
I think the poll question maybe should have been, what's been the most giant waste of time you've ever spent? That might be up there.
Right there.
Oh,
and then the best part is I get
Daniella,
told that this whole switch for the appointment happened like last week. And I'm like, there's not a single sign in this building. Okay.
Do you have an appointment?
I do. That'll be tomorrow's adventure. Hilarious.
John Ohm writes in on the YouTube feed, says, book an appointment. No. So, yeah, I feel it. I feel you. Okay. Who's the best team left in the Stanley Cup playoffs? It's our poll question today. Dallas, Edmonton, New York, or Florida?
I have no skin in this game, but actually before I even heard what the voters had said, I had picked Dallas myself. I just think that they're going to take it. And I mean, as much as I am certainly of the ilk to want to cheer on a Canadian team, I just don't see it this year.
I know. Dallas is really deep. Their goaltending is good. How much with what you're doing in the PWHL? I mean, I see it. We talk regularly. Mm-hmm. You're incredibly busy, among other things. When you're so into the league, how much do you actually get to watch the Stanley Cup playoffs and follow what's going on?
Very little. Yeah. In fact, I'm very fortunate that I work with the likes of Cheryl Pounder and Becky Keller, and a lot of their work kind of revolves around the NHL. So we end up talking a lot of NHL kind of, not like out of the games that we're doing. And so I get to, get the feel of it from that. But in terms of actually sitting down and watching a game, I watched last night. But other than that, I haven't had much chance to just kind of sit in front of the couch and just absorb a game in full. I will say that having been on the road last week for the Minnesota-Toronto series, caught a lot of the games, just going to bars in the evening, right, and kind of catching up that way. Yeah. But it's not the same. It's not the same as just getting lost in a game when you're on your own couch. There's something special about that. Or being in the building itself. But
of course.
Being unable to do that, the couch seat is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty unreal. As your season has come to a close in the PWHL, into the finals now, how was the first year for you in the PWHL? How was year one? I mean, I know it was incredible, but looking back, if you've had a chance to breathe a little bit and look back on it, what are you going to remember?
Year one was far too short for my liking. No, it was great. It was absolutely amazing. And so many surprises along the way, Darren. First of all, I was surprised when I found out I was calling the very first game, just because everything just happened so quickly going into December, into January. And then from there, we just took it week by week, month by month. So we didn't know half the time about neutral site games that were coming up, or the plans for Scotiabank Arena, or the plans for the Bell Center, or these all happen very organically and because the demand was there. So from a sit back and enjoy perspective, there was a lot of those moments that I'm still pinching myself about the Bell Center game. That was an incredible experience, and one that wasn't even on the radar at the start of this whole journey. So overall, for me personally, a tremendous success in that. Plenty of opportunities to grow, loved working in every Canadian market. And I am so used to now calling women's hockey with a big crowd, which, by the way, is not something that I'd ever experienced before. Having done a lot of women's hockey previously, you didn't have full barns. And here you are, and you're feeling the roar of the crowd. Oh, 21,000 plus people. But even just the sold-out crowds in Toronto alone, the crowds in Ottawa. Ottawa actually had the best average attendance in the league this year.
Yeah. Is like, we noticed it too. Like, it comes across in your call, when there's people in the building, the excitement. But doesn't it just make the job so much more fun when it's full like that? Like that, it's incredible.
Absolutely. Like you don't need anything to boost your spirits, to boost your energy when you can just feel it. And again, these are engaged crowds. I've said this numerous times. I think actually when I chatted with Rod the last time, I noted that. I'm like, this is not just people filling a building. This isn't just, oh yeah, I got tickets. These are people who want to be there so badly. And I'm so impressed time and time again by all the signs and the creativity. And that became its own kind of culture of the PWHL. And I wanted to ask you, Darren, I know you got a chance to actually go to a game. Was there anything that caught your eye, whether it's a sign or just the way that fans were in the crowd?
Yeah, like the merch. That was insane.
Oh,
like,
yes.
You can't get your hands on a piece of merch.
No.
The signs, it was cool. Like, everybody's bought in. And, here's the thing that stands out to me when it comes to the PWHL, and why I think it's going to be great, not just for a one and done. I think it's going to be good for a while, is they're real fans. Oftentimes,
Absolutely.
for good reason, we want to support things, but we're not that interested. I mean, we're interested, but we're supporting it because it's the thing to do. But these were fans. And there was a really heavy female demographic, and they all know the game. And you mentioned the signage, the merch. You're not buying merch and investing if you're not a fan, and if you're not going to, come to the games, game after game, year after year. You can't get your hands on a ticket. You can't get your hands on season tickets.
Exactly.
It's pretty awesome.
And just going back to the merch, it was wonderful to see. And again, a little surprising. You just never know what to expect. But you go into playoff game 1 in Toronto, and it is a sea of blue, and it's all the jerseys, right? And some of these jerseys have names on the back, so these, as you said, invested fans who know the game. And I also just love that we're already seeing the creativity, not just from super fans like Deb Harrison, who, by the way, has a huge following. People know Deb. It's the best. And then even just fans who are dressed as spoons for Natalie Spooner. I mean, that's what this is about, right? It's about building everything, not just the game, but promoting the players. And one thing that I will just share, Toronto head coach Troy Ryan, he knows what a gift he has. He's like, we have a lot of good names on our team, very marketable names like Spooner, Nurse, Turnbull, like these really memorable, hard-hitting, easy Miller, and it's like, hey, that's a gift. You got to take it and run with it for sure.
It's pretty awesome. Look, we don't have a lot of time here, but we got to talk about the final. Game 1 Sunday, Boston beat Minnesota 4-3. Jess Healy, the game winner, her first goal of the playoffs. But for Minnesota, they were 0 for 3 on the power play. They outshot Boston pretty good in the game. So game 2 tonight. Give us a little preview into game 2 and the rest of this series.
Oh, gosh, I wish I could look into crystal ball. I mean, right now, Boston is so hot. So now you got to wonder, are they able to keep that up? In a best-of-5 series, they only need 2 more wins. So can they lock that down? It would be pretty incredible. They're on a 6-game win streak overall, coming from the end of the season into this. But the fact that they had 3 straight wins in overtime against Montreal. I mean, that's a team that was tough to beat. They were outshot heavily as well in that game. So they're just a team that I'm always on the fence about. And I remember being asked why would Toronto pick Minnesota over Boston, and this was exactly why. I said it, they play very close.
Yeah.
Their goaltending, when it's good, it's great. We're seeing that from Aaron Frankel. So tonight, I may be expecting a little bit more of a tentative, I don't know, I want to say a little bit more tentative kind of start. That's what we saw in the semifinals. Like, okay, let's try to assess. But it's also, you don't have much runway, and Minnesota knows this. They completed the reverse sweep in the semifinal. Do they really want to have to be pushed to do that in the final for the Walter Cup? I do not think so. So I think they're going to come out strong. What I am liking, Darren, I know we're going to run out of time, but I'm really liking the fact that they're finally activating their stars like Taylor Heisey. The fact that she has 4 goals, 1 assist in her last 2 games. She had 4 goals her entire regular season, and she certainly had a lot of expectation. First overall draft pick, Minnesota Gopher, pride of Minnesota, getting to play at home. She did battle some injuries after the rivalry series in February, but it's having those stars activated. Their rookie leader, actually, Grace Sumwinkle, led the team during the regular season. We're waiting for her as well to get activated. So can they unlock that potential? I think that could be a really interesting dynamic here as that series continues.
Yeah, 2 goals for Taylor Heisey in game 1. Is that Maggie behind you?
It is. I can see her little tail. I'm like, what's up, girl?
Daniella,
she's like, can we go outside,
relax.
please?
Put your feet up. The hardest part of your day is over, the DMV, and you earned whatever you're going to do this afternoon. We appreciate your time. Love
it. Anytime. I love that took the bulk of the conversation, but I appreciate it. Always here to talk more, and it's going to certainly be an interesting, historic, as everything has been this season, PWHL Finals.
Yes. Game 2 tonight. That's Daniella Ponticelli joining us here on the video chat.